Hey everyone, welcome to Blooming Change. This is rebloom.news' weekly interview series where we interview people who we believe are making a positive impact in the world of sustainability. Just as a reminder, rebloom.news is a newsletter that offers advice, inspiration, and actionable items to live more consciously with the planet, and you can subscribe below. So today we're talking with Ilonka. Hey Ilonka.
Hi.
All about eco-villages. She is a sustainability researcher and advisor and has traveled to many eco-villages around Europe. And we're really excited to dig into some of her experiences. So Ilonka, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about what you do?
Yeah, hi. So my name is Ilonka. I'm a sustainability researcher, but last year I decided to quit my job at a research institute where I was working to actually travel around the world to visit eco-villages and other ecological projects to see firsthand and experience what they were like. So the whole of 2019 I spent traveling through Europe mostly to visit eco-villages and other communities. And I volunteered, so some places I stayed for a month or longer, other places I only visited for a day. And I conducted a lot of interviews with people to talk about how they live there, what they like about it. Yeah, so that's basically about my travels. And I host a website called Expedition Eco Village, and this is where I post blogs about my travels. So I write specific blogs about the eco villages that I have visited, but I also write some essays more from a perspective of a researcher about different aspects of eco village life and what the influence of eco village life can be on the global transition towards sustainability.
That is awesome. Yeah, for people watching, I found her blog through a few searches online, and I was overwhelmed by the amount of information she had on there. So I'll definitely link that below. And if you have any interest in research of eco-villages or her blog, you can click into that and take a look. So first off, let's jump into some questions. For people that don't know what an eco-village is, can you define it for us and let us know how many there are in the world?
Yeah, definitely. I get asked this question a lot, and I always answer that eco-villages are so different that it's hard to describe them because they're all unique. But in principle, I would call them an initiative of people who want to live in harmony with nature and with each other also. So what this involves is basically they often have a plot of land and they try to live self-sufficiently, both in terms of food, in terms of energy, in terms of water, but they also try to live sustainably socially. So they also have different ways of organizing, of decision making, which are more inclusive, more transparent, in harmony basically. And what lately has been a topic in the eco-village movement is that they also focus on regenerative movement. No, wait. They also focus on regenerative measures. And this basically means is that they find plots of land which are often degraded, and they implement strategies to revive the land or to apply agriculture methods which actually regenerate the ecosystems. So it's not just about living sustainably and making sure you don't have an impact, but also making sure you have a positive impact, actually regenerating the nature around yourself.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing.
That said, there is also traditional eco-villages. So there are also a lot of eco-villages which are simply villages that have never made the step to an industrial village, but still live sustainably. For example, in Senegal, in Africa, they have a minister of eco-villages. And they have a whole plan to transition around, well, I don't know how many, thousands of villages in the countryside of Senegal to sustainable villages, calling them eco-villages. So they've never been connected to the grid, to a sewage system or whatever, but they're going to transfer them immediately to sustainable methods.
Wow, so that's thousands that you were talking about in Africa.
Yes, that's a lot.
So in Europe, in Europe and, well, I guess in the world, how many eco-villages are there? Is this something that's really common and most people don't know about, or are there only a few happening?
There's a lot of them. So there's the Global Eco-Village Network, which is a global network of eco-villages, and they have subscribed more than 10,000 eco-villages around the world. So that's a huge number, especially because a lot of people don't know about them. And if you take into account also the traditional villages that live sustainably under the definition that I just gave, it would be a lot more. But I would say that they stick to around 10,000 around the world. Yeah.
Wow. So many people are living in this way, and it's not talked about. We were talking a little bit before this, how I was searching online like different hashtags like eco village blogger, eco village influencer, anything like that.
Yeah.
No one is really talking about this. And I feel like it's actually like a big underground, like a movement that's happening around the world where people want
Definitely.
to start living in harmony with nature and being self-sufficient. So when you were traveling around Europe, visiting all these eco villages, can you tell us a little bit about your journey hopping around and what you learned as you traveled to all the different villages?
Yeah, definitely. I think what I set out, I expected to learn a lot of practical things. Like I expected to learn about technologies that they apply to live off the grid, you know, to provide your own energy. Also, I expected to learn about different ways of agriculture. A common method they use is permaculture, which is a very sustainable way of agriculture, also regenerating ecosystems. And I expected to learn, well, so mostly technical solutions. But soon I found out that there's so much to learn about the social ways of living in an eco-village. They are really about inclusion, about transparency, about belonging. And what it comes down to is creating a sense of community again, creating a sense of belonging that as a person you can be who you are and you can stand in your own strength. So each person has their own values, has their own, you know, upsides, downsides. So in a group, every person can play a specific role. And in eco-villages, they really try to facilitate this. So through creating a sense of community and belonging and giving everyone the right to be who they are, they actually empower people immensely. Like I was surprised to see the amount of empowerment on a personal level with all the people I spoke to, both volunteers that come to eco-villages and people permanently living there, have experienced a lot of personal growth and feeling of empowerment. And with empowerment, I basically mean that you feel that you as a person can make a change to the world. And I think that's really necessary nowadays because a lot of people feel overwhelmed by the huge problems we face in terms of sustainability in the future. And in eco-villages, you see they found a way to empower people, to actually make them believe, because it is true, you can make a change as a person, but you just need the right conditions and the right motivation and support from people around you to feel that you can make a difference, to feel empowered. And this is what I really noticed in eco-villages, that they've managed to create those settings. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I would think going in with that technical mindset and switching to more of a social
Yeah.
aspect must have been a big transition for you to wrap your head around, but
Yeah.
that makes so much sense to be in that tight-knit community. And I can relate it to, I grew up doing a lot of theater and like that was a very like tight-knit, safe community. And I could imagine that being in a sustainable eco-village would probably give you the same type of confidence and empowerment
Yeah.
that you're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
awesome. So since you've traveled around to all these villages and you've seen some of the social and technical ways that they run them, do you think that we could implement them on a larger scale throughout the US? Like, do you think that they're going to really, or around the world, gain in popularity as time goes on?
Yeah, I love that you asked this question because I get asked so often, like the question, do you believe that the whole world should look like an eco-village? And I always answer like, no, that's not possible because the most eco-villages that are here now are experiments. They're people buying a piece of land, trying to live sustainably. And what I would call them is experiments. They're all unique. They're all experimenting with different aspects of living sustainably. And now the step we are facing now, because there are so many eco-villages and they're growing in numbers, we can take lessons from them. We can see what's working in which conditions, because for every country, for every region, different solutions are the right ones. You know, there's not one solution fits all. And we can take lessons and we can apply them to the existing urban areas, because we cannot like demolish all cities and build new eco-villages. We need to transform the things we have. We need to transform the infrastructures that are already here. So I believe that now is the time, and there are already a lot of steps being taken to facilitate this. Now is the time to take lessons from eco-villages and apply them in broader organizations, in cities, in district planning, etc., to learn from them. And then I don't mean just the technical solutions that they have found to live sustainably and self-sufficiently, but mostly also the social solutions they have found to collaborate together, to create settings of collaboration rather than competition, to work with trust, to work with empathy, rather than the ways we are working right now in the capitalistic system. So I think the eco-village movement can have a huge impact on the global transition, because we can learn from the lessons that they have learned on a small scale, and we can apply them on other areas throughout the world. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely see this shift happening. It makes so much sense. I feel like I've been seeing a lot of different startup companies and different people
Yeah, working along the same values as eco-villages. Yeah.
and investing a lot of money into programs that will make this, you know, implement this into urban areas.
Yes, and you also see a lot of networks arising. Like I already mentioned, the Global Eco Village Network. They do actually a lot of advocacy, I think is the word. They do a lot of advocacy work on a European governmental level, on a UN level. So they speak with very important political leaders to talk about this eco-village perspective and to apply it in the plans and strategies and visions that are made for a sustainable future. There's also another network called Ecolisa, and they do the similar work on a European level to lobby with the European government to implement the lessons learned from the eco-village movement and other movements like the permaculture movement, transition town movement. So we're starting to scale up and talk with the parties that really matter to change on a big scale.
That's awesome. That's so positive and exciting to hear after all the things that have been happening in the world this year. Like, wow, this is something really great.
Definitely, yeah.
So what for the people watching, what is some wisdom that you can pass along about how to live sustainably based on what you've seen in eco-villages?
For me, the main message to anyone would be that to have hope, basically. Having hope is essential if you want to have an influence on sustainability. Because if you dream of a world that you want to live in, and if you actually believe in that dream, then you have a vision, and then you can start working towards it. If you're only working like, oh, I hate how it's going right now, it shouldn't go like this, that's a good motivation, but it's a motivation based on dislike or hate or anger or frustration. It can power you through, but it cannot be very sustainable in terms of energy. Whereas if your motivation is based on hope, then you can find a real determination, because all the eco-villages that are growing right now, they face a lot of difficulties with legislation, etc., to create the experiments that they're having with different ways of living. And still they manage to pop up, and more eco-villages are popping up, and it's because they have this vision, they have this dream of living along the values they have, and they actually start doing it. And that's what I love about eco-villages. There are people that actually just say like, I have these and these values, and I'm just going to start right now living along those values. I'm not going to wait for the whole world to change to live sustainably. I'm just going to do it because I have a vision of what I would like to live like, and what I would like other people to live like. So that's it. Start to sit down and dream. What would you like the world to be like? And have that vision and hold on to that vision and start building on that and have that as a motivation. Yeah, because if you don't have hope, then what are you working for?
What do you have? Yeah, you have fear, negativity. Having that hope and positive outlook on life, I feel like would really help you zone into that. So, well, thank you so much for taking time to talk to us today. I can't wait to share you on the Rebloom platform with everybody. I know they'll be really excited to hear everything you have to say. So thank you.
Good, no problem. Thank you. Bye.